Good morning. Well, this is the day the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Like a friend of mine and I always text back and forth to each other. I know they say you're supposed to do certain videos for the algorithms and the likes, and if you don't keep doing them, people don't come back. Well, we do this as the Lord leads. It has to be done like that. Because then if not, we're just speaking out of our heads totally, and we don't want that. Sometimes you get it out of your head, but, it needs to come out of your spirit, really. So, don't know where to look here. Do I look up? Do I look at myself? So, if my eyes are funny, please forgive me. But the main point here today is, I guess you could say, reaction time. We've all heard of that. Heard about it a lot in sports and things like that. But we were built as free will mortal agents. And we have a lot of things happening around us, a lot of things buffeting us. And everything calls for a reaction. Everything calls for a response. What are we going to do about that? And I guess that depends on the individual, and I guess that depends on what you put in your heart. Jesus said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so when we react to something, we have to find out where that came from, because it is impossible to do nothing. Because if you do nothing, you've still done something. You've decided, you have made the choice to not do something. So what reaction did we have? I remember Reverend Hagen, Pentecostal, well, whatever you call him, minister who's now gone on to be with the Lord, talking about how he went to visit a pastor friend of his, and the gentleman saw him coming, and Kenneth Hagin was in his car, and the gentleman came running up to him and through the window grabbed him by the scruff and said, "How dare you taking my congregation?" And Kenneth Hagin said he had a tire iron between his door and his seat. He said he had his hands on it. And for a split second, he thought, well, I could split his head wide open if he's going to hurt me. But then he thought about the ramifications and the headlines and, the news clippings and, one preacher cracks open the skull of another preacher. So he changed his reaction. He changed his response. No, I don't know what happened there. I'm very sorry that what happened was this, that, and the other, but that was not the intention. And the man calmed down and, So there was another time, though, that he was being railed on, I believe by his son-in-law. And he said quietly, he just prayed to himself, "Greater is Jesus that's in me than he that's in the world." Life deserves a response. And that determines the course of our direction. And so when we do that, we plant seeds. Like, people will swear. And sometimes I'll go, they'll say, "What the," and I'll say, "What the Jesus?" "Oh, I'm sorry." And I'll say, "Well, I'll tell you this right now. I had to give Jesus equal time." Because I needed to establish that direction, the seed. When we receive things to ourselves, we're planting that seed. It's almost like we're hitching our trailer to that initial comment. Now, we don't have to respond in the way people expect us to. We can respond godly. But I will tell you this. I've heard the word positivity and negativity and all this kind of thing. That's a new age term. Not everything has to be King's English, Elizabethan English, thou, these, those, whatever. But I think we need to watch some of our sayings. Don't judge me, and all this kind of stuff. Stop. That'll be another post altogether. So anyway, we talk about positivity and negativity. People think that And there's nothing wrong with being positive. I'm not saying that. Don't get me wrong. But Jesus didn't go around tiptoeing through the tulips. Excuse me. He took a whip into the temple. We can wear those bracelets. What would Jesus do? WWJD. Well, I've said before, I guess the whip is a viable option. Now, again, I don't suggest going into some of these temples with a whip because most of them would be cleared out, never to have people in there again. So I would just like to say that go to the rule book and find out what it has to say about reaction time, response, life lessons, things like that. And then examine our hearts and find out, where did that come from? And so basically it's like the theme of our ministry. Will you be made whole? Spirit, soul, and body. Will you be made whole? Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. Please hit the like button if this ministered to you, even if it didn't. Please subscribe. And I'm sorry, we will not argue on social media. My famous saying is, you can never win an argument on social media. So we're not even going to try. So don't even bother. I will probably delete those comments. I'll pray for you first. Even if you have a valid, point, I may acknowledge that, but I'm not going to argue on social media. It's just not worth it. And also, again, we're using YouTube's platform here and Facebook's platform. So if there's an ad that pops up that we feel if you feel is ungodly, we're sorry. We're in their playground. So we're not endorsing it. And but there's not much we can do about it. So anyway, please be blessed. Have a blessed day. This is the day the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. But this, the day the Lord hath made. But what about the circumstances in the middle of that day? So, like I've told people, hang in there. Be blessed. Be highly favored. And Jesus is Lord.